So today's video, I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all is gonna be some triggers. Okay, so if you don't want to be triggered, don't watch either one of these topics. Just like the video, comment "Love you, Richie," and keep it moving. Okay. With that being said, let's dive in. Sky Squad, we're back in the building, and the first thing that we're gonna be talking about is Shamea. Shamea and the term colorism. I'm letting you know right off the bat that's what we're talking about today. All right. So with that in mind, for those of you guys who are mature enough to have this conversation, let's have it. Okay. Now, the reason for me why I wanted to have this discussion today was because it popped up during the Carlos King interview, and I didn't really dive too much into it. It's come up again with regards to this interview with the Neighborhood Talk. So I thought, okay, it might be worth a discussion to find out what you think. Okay. Now, let's start with the comment first. The comment that they use here is from X, and it says, "The more y'all dogpile on Shamea, the more y'all are proving people right about possible treatment due to colorism." Possible treatment due to colorism, okay? Y'all call it victimizing when people call out the dogpiling because you don't want to humanize her. It is this humanizing comment right here that has me kind of stuck because I asked that same question in one of my last reviews. I asked, why is it that it feels like Shamea is treated as less than a human by not only for me as a reviewer, the cast, but also as I review these shows, when I look at the comments, it also feels the same. The reason why I asked that question is because, and as you see stated here, Shamea is going to state, "I'm not a victim." And I think that her usage of that word is probably by choice and very intentional with that, because if she can't be the victim in this situation. She can't, because Shamea is also not perfect. And what I mean by that is she's also made her mistakes, and we've talked about that on this show. However, I just keep wondering why it is that Shamea, to me, it feels hasn't done anything worse than what some of the other housewives have done in their tenure on these shows. But it seems as though there's so much vitriol for her from the fandom. And I wonder if that is because she is in opposition now to Portia, who is widely popular, right? We've known Portia for a long time. We've been more invested in her life over the span of the time period that she's been on the show. But the other thing is that I think that is worth noting is that all of the best housewives have had their time in the hot seat. And what has ended up usually happening with some of our favorites is that they've just sailed through it. It might have been difficult and it might have been rocky, but they were able to stand 10 toes down and just like boom, 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 go back and forth with anybody and just keep it pushing, right? Whereas Shamea seems a bit more sensitive to me. Shamea seems like she is actually looking for friendship and making mistakes along the way in this search for some type of deep friendship that maybe she just won't really get on this show because, as Nene always stated, these are just her coworkers at the end of the day, right? But on the flip side of that, I have to also have a bit of objection with that, even that argument, and state that I feel like Shamea has apologized. A lot of comments I see will say, "Well, Shamea doesn't apologize. She never really means it." And why are her apologies, whether she does it on YouTube, whether she does it directly to the person, she has literally apologized to most of the people that she's had an issue with. And it seems as though it's never good enough. Whereas when the other ladies apologized, or even if they do at all, Angela did not even apologize at all in this past video for being caught up in her storytelling, okay, about Shamea's punani, okay, and what she does with it or does not do with it, or what the neighbors do with it, okay? And I'm just being for real on that one. But the ladies at the table, their non-reaction in the moment to Angela's shenanigans is also telling, because Shamea is called defensive. She's told it is her that is the reason for the division in the group. And it just seems like very odd to me that she is always seemingly treated as a little less than what the rest of the ladies are treated as. And I just wonder why. So, anyway, the person says, y'all don't want to feel shame for the intensity of your attacks on her. Shamea hasn't done anything that egregious to be crucified to this magnitude. And that I agree with. So, the interviewer here asked Shamea whether fans are reaching by saying she's a victim of colorism from the cast. It has come up, guys. It has come up. So the interviewer here is asking what Shamea's thoughts are. And she says she's just happy that people are opening their eyes to try to understand what it is that she has been experiencing. But she stopped short at ever calling it colorism. And so have I, because I just think that it is such a nuanced topic of discussion. Um, and I think for me, where it comes from is the search for answers, the search to understand exactly what it is that annoys the cast and the fans so much about her that they just want her like never to be seen again. So I think that's where this question really comes from. We're literally trying every avenue to understand, especially for me after a decade of doing these reviews. I have not really seen such a visceral fan response to one person who hasn't really done that much damage to warrant this. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. I'm not calling it that. I'm just simply saying it's worth investigating what it is so that I can understand it and also other people can understand it. And so maybe Shamea can understand it, course correct for next season, and move forward in a different space, right? Y'all let me know. Okay. Just having a discussion here. All right, so let's get into some actual like tea of like what really happened. Y'all know we talked about this yesterday. Former NFL star, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills alum AnneMarie Wiley's husband, Marcellus Wiley, arrested on domestic battery charge. So we talked about this and how he was held without bond. Okay. Hold on. I think did we get some news popping here? Okay. Let me get to the story because I can't post on the screen what they're actually saying happened. So just walk with me for a second while I get this up. Okay. So we know that he was arrested and booked into the Orange County Jail on July 4th on a charge of domestic battery. That was Sunday morning, and he had remained in custody and was reportedly being held without bond. Now, at that time, yesterday, when we talked about it, authorities had not yet released details about the alleged incident, including whether AnneMarie Wiley was involved. Well, today we know that she was indeed involved. Okay? So let's get into exactly what the report from TMZ is saying. Okay? And I'm taking this from the BravoSnarkSide. That's where I happen to catch this bit of tea. And again, I'm going to move to the BravoSnarkSide in just 1 second, but I got to be kind of careful about the verbiage that's posted here on these YouTube streets. Okay? So, apparently this is the allegation that he poked her in the cheek and threatened to off her. Okay? So they're saying that he allegedly got physical with his wife, AnneMarie, before the domestic violence arrest over the July 4th weekend. She told cops that he poked her in the cheek and threatened to off her. Now, that's the arrest affidavit. Now, apparently, Marcellus and AnneMarie were inside a hotel room in Orlando, Florida on Saturday afternoon when things went awry, and the former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star called police to report a battery. Y'all know she was on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 13, but she only really lasted a season. There were allegations for him from I think three or four other women that had alluded to him being assaulting them as well. So those were allegations that were out there, but I don't think we have heard the end of those allegations or what happened with those, at least for as far as I know. All right, so then when the officers arrived, and this is where I can actually head over to the Bravo Snark side. When officers arrived at the World Marriott, they say AnneMarie told them she wanted her husband removed from their room because she was afraid of him after he threatened to take her life. The docs say that their three children were also in the room, along with other kids, all of whom were at the hotel to attend a basketball tournament. Cops say AnneMarie also told them the previous morning Marcellus put his hands on her while she was sitting on the bed. Standing over her, Marcellus used one finger to sternly and intentionally poke her in the cheek in front of their 7-year-old daughter. The docs state AnneMarie went on to say she's planning on divorcing Wiley, claiming she's had an unreported history of violence towards her in the past. As far as Wiley is concerned, he told police that he and his wife did not have a physical altercation in the hotel and there was no violence between them, stating he never laid a hand on his wife and he was only there taking care of the children. Cops say Wiley showed them text messages between them exchanging cordial messages. However, based on AnneMarie's written statement, police found probable cause to arrest Wiley for domestic violence battery. Okay? Now, I want to go back here and I want to state here that it says that the docs state AnneMarie went on to say she's planning on divorcing Wiley, claiming he's had an unreported history of violence towards her in the past. Unreported history of violence towards her in the past basically indicates that she is saying that this has been happening. It has gone unreported and that they're at the space where they're getting a divorce, which we had not heard about. Okay. I remember, uh, I won't go there. I'm just going to leave it at this. Prayers to them, prayers to her that she's able to move beyond the situation. But I think that people got the sense when they were on the show that there was something awry between the two of them as we watched their story play out on camera. In my opinion, or in my viewpoint, it felt like she was constantly coming to the defense of him with regards to the things that were out there. It sounds like she was trying to stand by her man, but if in the interim, standing by her man meant that she was also subject to these things happening, that is also pretty sad given these other allegations out there about him, right? So, anyway, like I said, y'all, I told y'all the stories today were going to be a little bit triggering. I did give you warning ahead of time to let you guys know exactly what this was going to be. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next video.